you join us yet again for another one of our Spotlight interviews, and coming under the very gentle glow of the Movers and Shakers Spotlight is Simon Landy, who is the chairman of the British Chamber of Commerce Thailand and the executive chairman of Colliers International here in Thailand. Is that correct, Simon?
That's right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, actually, nice to meet you yet again, although because I met you in Pattaya a few months ago. So how are you, Simon?
I'm fine, thanks, and business is fine. It's been a good year so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to hear. I know down in Pattaya, well, because of the predominance of the real estate market, of course, and which you're heavily involved in, we're now getting into the sleepier part of the season. So it's slightly more challenging, I guess. But there's still lots of developments going on. It just seems like there's too many developments, or maybe, I don't know. Is there too many? Or?
Oh, you mean in Pattaya in particular? Pattaya is an interesting market. I mean, there are a lot of new developments going on. But if you look back, I mean, over the last 10, 15 years, there hasn't really been that much. It's the boom has been in the last, 3, 4 years.
Okay.
And I'd say the big change is that now you're getting Thais buying in Pattaya on quite a big scale, which is a relatively new phenomenon.
Sure. Yeah, because the whole mindset of Pattaya has changed in the eyes of the Bangkokians, I guess, who rediscovered Pattaya on the back of the floods last year. Well, it's good to hear that business is good for you. How long have you been in Thailand, Simon?
I've been here 30 years.
30 years?
30 years.
My goodness. Okay. So tonight you're attending Movers and Shakers. I guess networking is quite an important part of what you do. I mean, especially with the British Chamber as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, networking is it's obviously good fun as well, but it's an important part of our business, especially in the service industries. You have to get out there and network.
Okay. How would you say that it's changed over the last few years, or has it? Is it always just the same ethics? Just get out there, firm handshake, eye contact, and building the confidence, which I guess you do, and your team will do within Colliers anyway.
That's right. Well, I suppose the networking itself hasn't changed. I mean, networking is networking, interacting with customers, potential customers, and suppliers. But the environment has changed quite dramatically, certainly in my time here. I mean, Bangkok and Thailand generally is a much more cosmopolitan, international city than it was when I first arrived, certainly. And even going back 15 years, there are visible changes in the makeup of the cities and in the makeup of the people.
Okay. How would you illustrate that when you say the makeup of the people? Because what I'm acutely aware of, the more networking that I do, is that when Thais and foreigners work together, which, funnily enough, we have to do on a day-to-day basis. But then when you see that on a networking, you think, okay, these are people trying to do business with each other. Is this still one of the major challenges, trying to break through that, I won't say barrier, but there's a slight membrane which maybe comes from both sides? Does that still exist?
Absolutely, and I think if you look at the makeup of the community, it's much more balanced these days than it used to be. But yes, there's always cultural differences. But Paul, these differences are not just between the British Chamber, British members and our Thai members. It's between each nationality. There's always some cultural divide that has to be crossed.
Okay, all right. When, or rather, what advice would you give to, because our program's going out to people who are perhaps looking to set up in business, who are, wanting to take that step into the great unknown, and they're starting to find out about, okay, I need to get my visas and my work permits and all that rather boring stuff that you have to do that you have to take care of to do your work legally. What advice would you give to them as someone who's a bit of an old sort here, with the greatest of respect?
Somebody who's coming here for the first time, looking to do business, I suppose I could say a couple of things. One is, it's a very welcoming place. It's not just the Thai smile; it's the whole ethic of the culture. It's service oriented. It's a good place, and it's a pleasant place to do business. on the other hand, it's not the easiest place in the world to do business. There are those cultural barriers, there are various obstacles, some put in place to protect businesses, some of a more cultural or social nature.
Okay.
And I think to get involved here, to succeed here, you really need to make the effort to break through.
Okay. Okay, well that seems to be a common thread that people have said. You've got to make that step. Regarding these barriers, one thing that a lot of people in business are talking about is the ASEAN community of 2015, where a lot of the geographical barriers which have existed will, if everything goes according to plan, will come crashing down. Now, and I appreciate you don't have a crystal ball, but you think this on the whole is a good thing?
Oh, I think it's a good thing, definitely. I think liberalisation of the economy generally would be a good thing, and it would be a very good thing for Thailand, as many of the problems we come across are due to the slow pace of liberalisation. But one of the issues for Thailand is really that in comparison to some of the other countries in the region, especially those with, I'd say, better English language capabilities, there seems to be more concern here, almost fear of this opening up. And whereas the Singaporeans and Malaysians may be seeing AEC 2015 as an opportunity, I think too many Thais see it as a threat. Whereas in fact it isn't. I think it's a great opportunity.
That's something they need to embrace. Okay, final question. Are you a mover or a shaker?
Well, I guess it depends on the time of day.
Okay, well, or maybe how much beer is being consumed.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it is time for a beer. Simon, thank you for joining us.
Thanks
Nice
very
to
much.
meet you. Bye.